Peter King, Football Morning in America, must-read column, NBCSports.com. Pete joins us now. Pete, the oddest game of the weekend was turned in by who?
Oh, I would say the Cleveland Browns. I was stunned at the relative incompetence of the Browns. I mean, we all love the Browns going into this year. I don't know anybody who thought that they were going to be lousy. And who knows, they might not be lousy, but they're lousy right now. And that really surprises me. Now, some of that has to be due to Baker Mayfield's physical health. I get it. But regardless of that, they've just not been good. And I think, last night when I was just fiddling around a little bit, I was looking at the standings. And the one thing about the standings this morning that really surprises me, the Cleveland Browns have surrendered more points than they have scored. I mean, that just seems impossible to me. But hey, every week in the NFL, and Dan, look, you talk about predictions. The one thing I will always remember about our time together at NBC in that viewing room when we would sit together for years and watch the games, every Sunday at about 12:50 p.m., you would come out with your upset of the day.
Yeah.
And I swear you were right about 7 out of every 10 games.
Yeah.
It was uncanny. It was like a couple of weeks ago, you would have said, I like the Jets over the Bengals. And we would have all said, you're out of your friggin' mind. And yet you would have been right. Now, you weren't right all the time. That's impossible. But that is a little bit of a skill that you have that not many people do.
I just don't know what to buy into now. Like, if these were stocks, these teams were stocks, are you buying into the Cowboys?
I'm buying the Patriots.
Oh,
okay. I'm definitely buying the Patriots. Now, am I buying the Patriots to play in February? No. I mean, they might. I don't know whether they will or they won't. But I'm buying the Patriots because I think in recent weeks, they have played so well defensively, and they have a quarterback who week after week after week. Yeah, I said this to somebody the other day on some talk show or other, and I said, he's far and away the best rookie quarterback in football, and it's not even close. They say, well, wait a second, he's on a better team than Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. I said, I mean, would you have said that on Labor Day weekend? Maybe part of the reason he's on a better team is because he's better. And, I think he's been terrific. But if you look at what they have done defensively and how many weapons they have on defense, like I named Kyle Duggar one of my defensive players of the week this week. But as I said in my thing, I could name 10 Patriots. So many guys are having an impact on defense on this team. And, if you look at the Patriots, it's another thing. They've outscored the opposition by 98 points now. So, I mean, this is not any fluky thing. And, the other thing about the Patriots, I was not a big fan of paying big money to Matthew Judon because the Ravens usually know when to hold them, when to fold them. And they usually fold them, and they're usually right. Matthew Judon is a force of nature. And so I don't know. I think the Patriots are going to be hard to eliminate this year.
Yeah, I think they're a playoff team. With what you saw with the Chiefs against the Raiders, is that more about the Raiders or more about the Chiefs?
No, I think it's definitely a little bit of both. I think that not necessarily on the field, but off the field, there has to be some sort of impact with everything that's happened to them. This is a franchise that's absolutely, totally adrift. And Derek Carr has played 2 games in a row where you say, now that's one of the reasons why we don't call him a top 10 quarterback. I mean, he's gone from being a legitimate guy who's in the discussion for MVP to say, why did he just throw that ball 3 feet over that guy's head? And look, everybody has bad games. Everybody has slumps. I still think Derek Carr is pretty good, but I mean, he's been bad the last 2 weeks. I think but I talked to Patrick Mahomes after the game last night, and I came away feeling like that the absolute unequivocal best thing about Patrick Mahomes is that, he doesn't think the sky is falling. And, I asked him last night, Dan, I said, hey, Patrick, I said, have you ever thought in the last month when you probably know the outside world thinks you guys are bad and that it's over and you have fallen to earth? I said, did you ever stare at the ceiling and say, what's wrong with me? And he goes, no, I didn't. Pause. End of answer. I mean, and so isn't that what you want in your quarterback? You want a quarterback who is introspective and who says, why isn't this working? Hey, Andy, let's sit down and talk about why it isn't working. And they did many times. You know what Andy Reid told Patrick Mahomes this week before this game? Hey, listen, take the check down if it's there, but be you. And isn't that what you want in your coach? Don't you want that trust and faith in your coach? And look, he's going to have some rocky times. It'd be totally unnatural. No quarterback who's ever played has had 3 years and multiply that times 5, and that's your career for the first 3 years. It can happen, but I think he got everybody spoiled to that fact. But I thought he was terrific last night.
What did you make of the Packers and Seattle game?
Dan, in my opinion, I thought that, as I wrote, I said, we played a half a season of games, and there's few games, if any, that have made so many loud statements as that game. Probably the loudest statement in that game is that the Green Bay Packers do not need vintage Aaron Rodgers to beat a good team. And I still think Seattle's a good team. They're not a great team, but they're a good team. And look at what happened with A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon basically was Jim Taylor in 1965, for those of us of a certain age. Well, I was only 8 then, but, he was a big back doing big back things, carrying Bobby Wagner into the end zone. And then what else do you make of it? You also make of it that you really have to question, first of all, whether they can respond this year and whether the Seahawks, in my opinion, should think, I'm not saying they should, but should they think of trading Russell Wilson for 3 ones and a good player in March? I think the automatic answer is absolutely categorically not. You don't trade a great quarterback. You don't do it. Well, if he's going to be really unhappy, and I'm not saying that he will be, but I'm saying that you shouldn't just dismiss it out of hand. John Schneider found Russell Wilson with the 77th pick in the draft 9 years ago, and I'm sure he has faith in his ability to find another quarterback in the draft. I don't know if that'll happen truly, but that game made a lot of bold statements to me.
He's Peter King. Football Morning in America is the column to read, NBCSports.com. How did this all play out with the Rams getting OBJ, and what role do you think he plays tonight?
I think he plays 10 to 20 snaps. They're going to play 2, 1 7th-round pick, a receiver from Notre Dame. I forget the guy's name. And they're going to play another guy named J.J. Koski. These guys are not household names in their own household. And they're going to play tonight, I think, probably a lot of snaps. I think the Rams, and I think Sean McVay is just a little bit concerned about force feeding too much. It's like what Matt Rule told me after the game yesterday. They didn't decide what to do with Cam Newton until the morning of the game. Okay, are you comfortable if we put in these plays? There's only like 3 or 4 plays that he had practiced, that he had studied, that he knew everything about. Are you comfortable? Yeah. Okay. Then let's have him have this in the game plan. And Newton was perfect at them. Obviously, he's done those before. But I think with Odell, I think he might play a few snaps just to kind of get his feet wet. But I don't think Sean McVay wants to force him in before he's fully ready to play. Then they got the bye, and then I think he'll be ready to be a full-time participant when they come back from the bye.
How does this play out with John Gruden suing the NFL?
I mean, I doubt he'll win, Dan. It just, this reminds me so much of what Al Davis used to do with Pete Rozelle. The former Raiders owner, the former NFL commissioner. Al Davis made it personal. John Gruden is going to make it personal. As somebody who knows Gruden told me over the weekend, why not? He's got nothing to lose. He knows he's not working in the game again. So he's going to lob Molotov cocktails at Park Avenue. And he doesn't care who's hurt in the process. How about him? He just woke up one day and all of a sudden he wasn't the coach of the Raiders anymore. And it reminds me of what George Young, the general manager of the Giants, used to say when we would talk to him about one controversy or another. And he goes, I'm just over here picking my nose and I get in trouble. Now, obviously, Gruden did something to cause that. So I'm not saying certainly that he's blameless, but I think he just feels right now, Dan, why not throw everything up against the league and see if we can make something stick? But I continue to say, in my opinion, it's senseless to think that the league released these emails. Now, somebody connected with the league, who knows? I don't have any idea who did it, honestly. But it doesn't strike me as logical to think that they would release emails that would really besmirch the reputation of their chief legal counsel, Jeff Pash, who everybody in that office loves. So I would be surprised if he would win the lawsuit.
Has anybody come up with any logic that they knew this in the summer? They knew these emails existed with John Gruden, but yes. Then they brought him up during the season.
But would they have brought them up? Would they have brought them up if there wasn't noise about them leaking? That's the question to answer. I think it was a Thursday night when Andrew Beaton of the Wall Street Journal called the Raiders. Might have been Wednesday. I forget when it was exactly. And then by Monday, Gruden was gone. I'm just not sure that the NFL would have released or would have sent those emails to the Raiders at that time. Maybe they would have done it at another time. And maybe you could argue that, hey, they should have gone out and presented to Mark Davis all the evidence they had in June and said, what do you want to do about this? Yeah. And what he would have done, I don't know. But that is a justifiable criticism on the NFL. They basically let the emails sit there and percolate, and then somehow, some way, they got in the hands of the media. And that's when all heck broke loose.
I'm guessing that Urban Meyer is okay in Jacksonville. They put up a good fight, and he had a pretty good month considering what happened prior to that. But Jacksonville played the Colts, they went toe-to-toe. What do you make of the Jags moving on second half of the season?
Well, Dan, they've won 2 games among the last 4. They're 2-2. They got beat up by Seattle, and they brought Indianapolis right to the end. I would doubt sincerely at all that Shad Khan, who has placed a lot of faith in Urban Meyer to fix this, that he's having any thoughts of moving on. I'm sure that Urban Meyer, barring something weird, and again, I say barring something weird because with Urban Meyer, there might be something weird. There has been something weird already. So, but no, I don't think he's in any danger as long as things continue sort of the way they are.
Pete, always good to talk to you. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, Dan, thank you.
That's Peter King, Football Morning in America, and of course, contributor to NBC Sports, Football Night America.